Today on the podcast, we're talking physical education, ultramarathons, and unicorns. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindbergh. Oh boy. Many of you know me from my new doggy fashion line, Snouty Snouts. And if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we are joined by one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains. And I have made my way to 39th Street. I am at 1415 West 39th Street at Phys Ed KC. I'm surrounded by implements of, fitness and destruction, the types of things that I look at and go, oh, that hurts my legs just looking at it, but that's okay. And I am joined today by, she's the owner, the coach, the instructor. You ready? Here I go. I'm going to say your name. Oh, man. We were building up to this point right here. Please welcome to the show, Coleen Shaw-Voeks. I did it right. I got it right. You know, I've had like some trouble in the past where I've gotten some really names, like I butchered them at the beginning and I've like gone in and here's a little behind the curtain. I've re-edited them in. I know, right?
Fake news.
I know, right? But Coleen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me today.
You know, I am very excited to have you today. I know you had a busy morning because you were at, what were you at?
I was cheering at the Rock the Parkway Half Marathon.
Oh, boy.
So all over Kansas City, the road closure thing that drives people insane in Kansas City, causes lots of swearing,
yes,
controversy on Facebook and everything. But yeah, it's a lot of fun if you just get out of your car and cheer for runners.
So you were cheering them on. Very
yes.
good. Why don't you tell me, let's start with Phys Ed KC, because we're in this very cool old building here on 39th Street, right next door to the Latin Cafe,
yes,
which I walked up and I was like, oh, that smells good this morning.
It's so good.
And
yeah.
But I mean, I see some rowing machines.
Yes.
I see some big bouncy balls. I see some pull-ups. I saw like a timer. I see some like box jump type stuff. Why don't you tell me about Phys Ed KC and when this got started? It shows you how much I know about fitness, right?
Right. That's fair. Those are probably
the
appropriate.
Big bouncing balls are over there.
Descriptions
yes.
there.
Yes.
So I opened Phys Ed KC in officially in September of 2016. Had to think about that for a second. I've been teaching fitness classes and coaching runners all over the city for about 7-8 years now.
Okay.
And it was finally time to kind of do my own thing. So we do a lot of functional fitness here. Our biggest focus is strength for runners. We have a lot of athletes, not just runners, but triathletes and just, people who do actual sports and such.
Okay.
So that's kind of our biggest focus, but at the same time, we also have a lot of people that are like, I just want to get a good workout in. I want to sweat. I want to look good, and that's what I want. So we're happy to have those right next to us.
When I think of Phys Ed KC, but I like my mind immediately goes like PE. Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
Because we like to have fun. It really is about fun. We last summer we actually play a summertime version where I have the big, huge car washing sponges.
Nice.
And we wet them down and we play an amazing, fun game of dodge wet sponge. So it's a lot of fun. We are all about having a good time because, fitness can really suck. Like you said, you look at it and think torture. But if we laugh and we have a good time and we've created a really good community here, so everybody's super encouraging and everybody says at the same time, man, this fucking sucks. And you all know you're in it together. So it makes it a little bit more fun.
So what are some of the different classes? I know you said there's some yoga that goes on here. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other different things.
We've got yoga. We've got yoga for athletes.
Oh.
So you don't have to be able to like put your toe in your ear or, foot over your head to be able to take them because I can't do it. And I don't teach yoga, let me tell you. I am not a yoga teacher. Yeah. My yoga teachers are incredible, amazing unicorns, but I am not one of them.
Wait, hold on. You have unicorns?
Oh, we have unicorns.
Oh my
Look
goodness.
right over there. Your listeners can't see, but there are unicorn horns hanging from our thing. And actually, my unicorn onesie is, I had to lend it to somebody who had dropped out of the race this morning. So usually there's a unicorn onesie also hanging there.
Fantastic.
Again, we like to have have fun around here. So you might show up for a class and somebody's wearing a tutu and a unicorn horn teaching the class. So, you know. But yeah, back to my yoga instructors. They're incredible, and they understand what people need, and they know that not everybody is a, Instagram perfect yogi. So their classes are, according to what we've got. And a lot of us athletes, we have tight hamstrings, and which means we can't even remotely put our hands on the ground. So
yes.
We also have strength for runners. We have a lot of strength for runners classes. So we totally focus on the things that runners need most, which is to even out their butt muscles, because runners have very lazy butts. I don't know if you know this. They use a lot of quad and hamstring, but lazy butts. Anything we need to do to make them fitter, faster, stronger, and less injury prone. That is or somebody's song, yeah. Then we also have just a lot of regular functional strength training classes. We use barbells, kettlebells, dumbbells, big bouncy balls.
Thank you. That is
Small
the technical term.
Slam balls, exactly. We have rowers, we have TRX, we have a little bit of everything. And when the weather's nice in Kansas City, which happens for, generally about 3 to 5 seconds, we go outside because Roanoke Park is a half a block away. So
very nice. So when did you realize that fitness, this was the way for you? Like, I want to know more about you here. Like, what's the story?
Well, I've always done sports. My dad was a runner growing up, and our entire lives revolved around running. He was one of the early ultra runners in the country.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're familiar with ultra running.
Ultra marathons, ultra running. I'm going to ask you more about that because I have many questions about ultra running.
But so our entire lives revolved around running. So I've always done sports, and my parents were always really good about, maybe if I asked for designer jeans, they wouldn't give them to me, or they'd make me earn the money for them. But anything I wanted to do sports related, no problem. You want to play soccer? Great. Let's go get you cleats and, jersey and whatever you need for that. You want to play lacrosse? Great. No problem. So sports have always been super encouraged in my house. So I've played a lot of different sports, and so it's always been a part of my life. I just didn't think it was going to be my entire life.
Right. Weird how that works out.
I know, right?
Next thing you know, I'm just going about, now I own a gym.
Shit, right? Okay, I better like this.
All right. I am going to ask you about ultramarathons. Okay, because I know that a marathon is 26.2. Thank you. I see those on the back of cars all the time. You think I would know that by now. But ultramarathons are like 100
they can be
miles?
Or more. So it's technically the definition of an ultramarathon is any distance above 26.2.
Okay.
So you could run something as simple as 27 miles and call yourself an ultramarathoner. But let me tell you,
that doesn't count.
That doesn't count. It really doesn't. You will, if you say that to somebody who has run a lot more, they're going to give you the very polite look. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That look that says, I would like to say something to you, but I'm not going to. So most standard, the entry point for most ultramarathoners is 50K, which is 31 miles.
Okay.
And then it goes 50 miles, and then 100K, which is 62 miles, and then 100 miles. And then there's 150 miles and 200 miles. And
Oh my goodness.
You have to really love running.
Yeah,
really love it.
My wife is very physically fit.
Excellent.
She loves to exercise, and so we will work out together once a week. And like we'll go like on a little run, and we'll try to work out. And my fitness for me is an interesting topic. But like I feel good after about like we can go about 1.5 miles, 1.75 miles, and I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling good. Just the thought of 100 miles, like I can feel my legs start to tense up right now with pain.
Right.
It sounds impossible, but I know it is. I know it can be done, but how do you even train for something? Okay, so how far have you gone?
A little over 100 miles. So I haven't done any of the 150 or 200 mile runs yet. And I just said yet. So apparently I'm going to
Oh, yeah. You're planning. You're planning on it.
So I think 110 is the longest I've gone.
Holy shit.
So here's the thing. no matter how many times you run 100 miles, it is still difficult to wrap your brain around the fact that you ran 100 miles. So I've completed 10 100-mile races.
Whoa.
And every time I would set out to do one, I'd think, I can't do this. This is impossible. So it's hard, even though like, I've done 9 other ones. But it still is it's hard to wrap your brain around. So it's okay to think that's impossible, because I still think that's impossible.
And you've done it.
And I've done it many times.
How do you even train for something like that?
Lots of time on your feet.
Well, yeah,
So
okay.
yeah, right.
So I mean, but
like
it's
maybe
not like you can just go run 5 miles and like you got to spend whole days running to train for it, right?
Well, yeah. So strength training is huge. It's a huge asset to make you strong, to really, strengthen those muscles and all the correct muscles and make sure everything is evenly balanced so you can rely on all sorts of different muscles when things get tired. Obviously, I'm not saying couch to 100 miles. Mm-hmm. Well, you start. If you've been running for more than a few years, you're comfortable at the marathon pace, you've run a couple, 50Ks, 50 milers, that's when you can start thinking about adding some extra mileage. So a lot of the work is done what we call back-to-back runs. So I might go out and run 30 miles on Saturday and then run 20 or 25 on Sunday. So you're teaching yourself to run on tired legs. You're teaching your body to recover quickly. Mm-hmm. It has to recover very quickly. And you're teaching your brain to know that you can keep going. No matter how much it hurts, you can keep going.
Yeah.
And really that's it. They say that, the first 60 miles or so is run with your legs, and then the last 40 is really run with your heart and your mind. So, and it's true. And I say this, and I could, if you are in halfway decent physical health, I could literally turn anyone into, I could train you to run 100 miles.
Really?
But you would have to want to. You have to have that brain and heart piece that says, I really want to spend 24 hours in the woods running. Like, if you don't have that, the rest of it's not going to fall into place well. Because you're going to struggle against the training. You have to genuinely have that like burning desire to do it. So it's all about the heart and the mind. Our bodies are amazing. I mean, they really truly are. And I get super excited about this sort of stuff, but it's true. Our bodies are amazing. We can train them to do so many things. And it's just that time, but you have to have the desire to do it. So if it doesn't appeal to you, if you're like, oh, hell no. And honestly, and this is also where I say, it's not healthy. Running that far it's not healthy. It's not like it's putting years on my life. It's not. It's probably taking years off my life. If all you want is healthy running, run 3 to 5 miles a couple times a week. If you're doing it for health, that's all you need to do. If you're doing it for all the other reasons, you want to see what your body can do. You want to see what that dark place is inside of you and know that you can come out of it. That's when you start training for the long runs.
And you can push yourself.
Yeah.
You're willing to push yourself.
Yeah.
What's the pace for an ultra marathon like that?
Well, it really depends because most ultras are done on trails. So
really?
Go find mountain bike trails like
wow.
dirt routes, rocks, all that sort of stuff. So it really varies. It varies on your terrain. I have had anywhere from 23 hours of running to I think the longest was 32 hours of running because of the terrain. And some of it sometimes it's in the mountains. So you're going up and down mountains like Leadville. I've run Leadville 100, and that's the top point is 14,000 feet. So
32 hours nonstop.
Well, I mean, you hit an aid station, you stop,
okay.
You might sit down for a minute and change your shoes and your socks. It helps sometimes to give yourself a wipe down with baby wipes and stuff. It feels so good when you've been sweating for 20 hours to give a quick wipe down and stuff. So you've got some little stopping pieces, but keep in mind it's a race. Yeah. When the gun goes off, your timer starts. And most of the races, all the races have time cutoffs. So you don't want to dick around too long at an aid station. You need to keep moving.
You got to get in there before it's over.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it truly is a race. So, and it's heartbreaking. Leadville is a great example because you can see it finishes on the road and you can see people coming up the road and they fire a gun at 30 hours. And if you haven't crossed the finish line at 30 hours, so it is heartbreaking. People screaming, lining up the street, screaming at people, run faster, and just, it's heartbreaking to see people and they hear the gun go off because you can hear it go off for like a mile down the road and just know that they're not getting a finish. They're not getting a belt buckle. That's the traditional prize, quote unquote, for finishing 100-miler is a belt buckle.
Okay, so what's your best time?
It would be actually my last 100-miler after I took a hiatus when I opened the studio, which was 23. So
I don't know.
Bad.
You
I
tell
don't even
me.
remember. I'm so bad. Times aren't a huge thing.
Is it laps around the same track, or do you like start in one spot and go somewhere completely
It depends.
else?
So some are a point to point.
Okay.
So you'll start in one place and run for 100 miles in one direction and finish there. I've done one down in southern Missouri called Ozark Trail 100 that was like that. My first 100-miler was 25-mile loops. So you just did 25-mile loops. Sometimes there'll be a 20-mile loops, 15-mile loops. 50 miles out, 50 miles back. I've done those. I mean, so it just really depends on what the course can do and what, how much property you have to work with and what it looks like. And so Western States, I've done Western States, which is the granddaddy. It was the first 100-mile race in the country. And that one is a point to point also. You start in Squaw Valley, California, and end in Auburn.
So how's Kansas City as a running city?
Kansas City is an incredible running city.
Okay.
It is absolutely incredible. We have an amazing road. So there's kind of a difference between road runners and trail runners.
Okay.
There's a lot of switchovers, but for the most part, road people like roads, trail people like trails. It's kind of like mountain bikers and road bikers. If you've ever done a bit with them, like trail runners we're kind of dirtbags, we really are.
Okay.
We like to be muddy and dirty and camp and that sort of stuff. We don't give a shit about what your time was, which is why I genuinely don't remember my times for a lot of races. Because when you meet a trail runner and you say, oh, I did this race, they're not going to say, well, what was your time?
Oh, okay.
They're going to say, didn't you have a great time?
Gotcha.
What was the course like? Was it beautiful? What were the aid stations like? Because you've never done a race until you've seen an aid station at an ultra run, because it's like a fucking buffet. I shit you not. There are no, because you have to have so much energy to run for 100 miles. There's cookies, there's candy, there's potato chips, there's soda. I mean, there's people frying up bacon, there's quesadillas, there's pizza, like you name it. There is food there.
Wow.
It is like a buffet spread. So that's the sort of stuff people will ask about. Like, oh, I hear the aid stations are amazing at that race. And people are like, oh my God, it was the best ever. Like I had a made to order quesadilla and stuff.
And then I went back out and ran 20 more miles.
Exactly.
And then I came back and got a cookie. Yum.
Exactly.
Okay. That's all right.
So,
See,
yeah,
I'm
so it's a
excited about the
different
buffet part.
Right? That's one of the ways I hook people in.
See, and then that's the part that I get worried about, because I would like run 20 miles and then like, oh, look at all this food. Well, time to eat. See y'all later.
I'm just going to stay right here. Well, and the aid station people are really good at being like, okay, now get the fuck out.
Right.
Because we don't want people to stop. We want everybody to finish.
Yeah.
So anybody that's worked an aid station, and I volunteered at many aid stations to give back, we're like, that's great. You can take that piece of pizza with you and start walking. Get out, and that's just it. You grab your food and you start walking, and you walk while you eat your food, so you're constantly moving forward. But you're getting in that nutrition.
Is there an ultra running race that like you want to go, like's on your bucket list of a place to go or a place to do?
Yes. So I've done a lot of the big ones in the United States. But one, Hard Rock 100, which is deep in Colorado, Telluride, Ouray, Silverton, Colorado. It's in that loop there. It's the hardest 100-miler in the country, and it's also the hardest to get into. They only take a very small amount of people. You have to have a qualifier mountain 100 finish, and you have to have had it within 2 years. So I was constantly running these qualifying mountain races, so I could always keep putting my name in the lottery hat. And I tried for 7 years, and I never got in. And so I've banged my head against that Hard Rock so many times that I'm thinking that I've just kind of given up on that one.
No.
Well, it just gets worse and worse. The more that ultra running is really experiencing this huge boom. Yeah. So when you have literally 37 spots and you have thousands of people putting in for it, it just gets worse and worse. It just gets worse and worse. So yeah, it's kind of frustrating. So, but there's some races in Europe that I'd really like to do. And so we'll see. We'll see.
You see what
right now,
happens.
it's my hiatus is with really long runs because of the studio and kind of growing that and everything.
All right, so give me some basic running tips.
Don't go out like an asshole.
Okay, I'm sorry, what?
Don't go out like an asshole.
What, like looking?
That's our motto around here.
Okay.
No, like most people, especially when they start to run, they're like, okay, I'm going to run. And so they literally like walk out their door and they take off fucking sprinting down their street. And then they get to the end of their street and they're like,
okay,
I'm dying, I can't run. And so that's what I always hear is I can't run. And I'm like, I guarantee you went out too fast. And it doesn't even have to be that fast, but they went out and said, well, I'm going to go out and run for 3 miles. And they hadn't done any running before. So it really means like start slow. Start slow, start distance slow, start, speed slow. Download Couch to 5K. If you wanted to start running, that is the best place to start. As a running coach, I could not write a better program than the Couch to 5K program. It starts with walking and then just slowly starts interspersing, slow bits of running and walking and running and walking. And then each week it lessens the amount of walk time and increases the amount of run time. And it is hands down the best way to start running. But yeah, and finding a group of people to run with, a community, is huge. There are so many amazing run groups in Kansas City, whether it's road or trails, that you can find somebody that's A, your pace, B, someone you like to talk to, because there's a lot of talking during running. I mean, all we do is talk. People like you're my best friend after a 2-hour run because we have like spilled each other's guts. There's something about running.
We know each other so well.
Exactly. And when you meet somebody, runners, we're so funny. We want to talk about like gross things like feet or like bowel movements. Did you poop this morning?
Yeah.
Oh, no, not yet. We're going to have to go. We're going to have to run past Quick Trips all day because, maybe I ate spicy stuff that night. Like, that's the stuff you openly talk about with somebody you've literally met 3 minutes before.
I remember watching like a documentary about Olympic marathon runners and how, like they're just training and then they'll just drop trowel and like off the side, run off the trail, drop trowel and then keep moving on. And it's just, it just blows my mind. It's just insane.
Trail running is great because you're on the trails, you're in the woods. You just go wherever. You like look at that tree and go, that looks like a good tree. I mean, there are times I used to joke when I was really like hardcore training and was out on the trails every day. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I've pooped behind more trees than I have in my own toilet this week.
Did you use leaves for toilet paper?
No, so there's an etiquette behind it.
Oh,
you
okay.
You bring your little baggie with your wipes, and then you put your used wipes in a baggie. You dig a little cat hole, like with your foot or whatever, for your deposits, then you kick dirt and leaves and stuff over it, and you take your wipes with you in a baggie, and then you just throw it away when you get back to the trailhead.
Wow. Oh, yeah. So
you're not littering.
Okay,
good. And you're covering up your waist so nobody steps in it and nobody gets into it. So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
With ultra running going through like this boom period, and like I also think of like the obstacle course racing and stuff
OCR
like that.
Stuff,
We've had OCR folks on the show before and stuff. Is it will it reach a point where like it's going to go too far? Like everyone's like trying to up it and up it and up it. Like I think about the obstacle course racing, like, okay, well, last year we had the 20-foot jump into the river. Right. Now it's the 30-foot jump into the river. Like, so it does now that's a little bit different because there's obstacles and things like that. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, oh, you're at 100. Okay, well now we're going to go to 120.
Well,
now
yeah,
we're gonna,
and it
like,
really has.
Is it
because
escalating?
Up until, just recently, for the most part, 100 miles for most people was the most you were going to run. So there's a few little offshoot things called timed races, which are they're kind of like the redheaded stepchild of ultra running. So most of the time they're done like on a track, like a 1 mile track or, a quarter-mile track or something, where you run for maybe 24 hours, just as many loops as you can in 24 hours or 48 hours or 72 hours or 6 days. And so that's kind of like the redheaded stepchild. So if you're not into the timed races, and that's a different kind of mental mindset, you probably 100 miles was probably the most you were going to run ever.
Right.
But now recently, within the past few years, we're seeing this huge boom in 200-mile races.
Whoa!
So yeah, there's 200 miles is the new 100, and 50Ks are the new marathon because everybody's doing 50Ks now. So it's really we're going somewhere. So we'll see how long that lasts, and we'll see how long this interest kind of goes. I like seeing the big boom, and at the same time, crotchety me is like, I can't get into races I want to get into. And, suddenly the trails are super congested, and not everybody has come into it with good trail groups, like joining good trail groups who teach them etiquette. So an etiquette in trail running is different from etiquette in road running. So we've got this big boom of road runners coming in and doing a lot of trail races, and they don't realize you can't throw your goo packet on the ground like you can during a road race, because the road race, they just have the big sweepers come through and clean up.
Right.
Aid stations, you take your cup and you throw it down.
Right.
Well, in trail running, either you have to carry your own hydration, you carry your own pack, your own water bottle, or a collapsible cup that you keep in your pocket, or a lot of times, you take your cup and you leave it like there at the aid station. You can't walk off with it and then just throw it down wherever you feel like it. Some races are cupless, so you have to, if you don't have your own shit, you're not getting a drink at the aid station. Oh. So unless you put your mouth under the spigot or something, which I've seen people do, but people don't realize that.
Yeah.
They're signing up for these things not realizing this is not the same thing as a road race where you have an aid station every 2 miles.
Yeah.
It might be 7-9 miles. If you're not carrying your own water bottle, you're gonna be real fucking thirsty when you get to the aid station. So that part of it's hard, which is why a friend of mine, we have a kind of a separate business called Team Sparkle Productions, and that's kind of our running coaching side of things. But we also do a lot of things on education. So we're trying. Team Sparkle, unicorns.
I like
unicorn
it.
is
I
our
like
logo.
it.
Yeah. But we're trying to educate people, why trails close all the time in Kansas City. Kansas City has our soil is very clay based. So when it gets wet, it gets really sticky. And the mountain bike groups are the main guys around here who put in so much of the time building the trails and maintaining the trails. And they get really grumpy when they close the trails because it's wet. And then runners go in and make these huge divots.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's, hundreds of man hours to get those divots out. So we're trying to educate people. Like, there's a reason why there is a gate across that trail that says closed. Don't go around it. Don't fucking go around it. Seriously. So yeah, educating some of our new runners in this huge boom that we're having is key.
I am. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
We'll go run a mile.
Excellent. Woo!
And we'll be right back here on the Kansas City Podcast. Hey, Cole here. Hope you're enjoying today's episode with Coleen Shaw-Voeks. Very exciting. I got to meet with her at Phys Ed KC, and it's not a joke. I was surrounded by implements of physical education destruction. I want to give a special shout out today to two very good friends of mine who actually helped me get Coleen on the show. John and Catherine Dobson. Thank you so much to you two. I promised them I would give them a shout out in some way. And folks, if you know of anyone that should be on the show, if you think to yourself, hey, I got a friend that, I'd like to hear what they have to say, or maybe they could give Cole a hard time, send them my way. Check out our website, thekansacitypodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening to the show. And now let's get back and maybe, how about the KC quiz? Back to the show. Welcome back to the Kansas City Podcast. Cole Lindbergh here with Coleen Shaw-Voeks. It's just very exciting right now because we just went on a 100-mile run, yes! And I am exhausted. We are actually meeting up 9 days later. 9
days.
Because that's how long it took me. But, I had to stop for many naps. And, I had to, make my running go into the small towns to find the buffets, because there wasn't anything set up. But thank you for pushing me.
Hey, you did great. I'm really proud of you.
I hear that you were, a really... not ruthless trainer, but you were a fun, crazy trainer. And I mean, I experienced that on our run, obviously, but
right, yes.
You are always pushing people to go to the limit, right?
Yeah. I mean, in
a fun way.
Right. And in a safe way too. I mean, because what I find is, my limit is not somebody who's just walked in the door limit. I want everybody to give me the best they have on that day, because
Gotcha.
we all know that some days it's like, oh, hell yeah, I could lift this fucking building. And other days it's like, I'm going to just sit in the corner here and sandbag for a little bit because I am not feeling it today.
Because I hear you put together some pretty crazy workout plans. Is that true?
Yeah, yes. That's what I understand. That's what I hear on a regular basis.
Do you use the gigantic balls?
Yeah, we do use the gigantic balls sometimes.
Well, okay, all right. What is the official name of those? I can't keep saying
It's
that.
a stability ball.
Oh, okay, the stability ball. Obviously, I should have known that.
Oh, I kind of like gigantic balls.
You got some pretty cool stuff in here. I mean, you got like the rowing machines, and like those look like chin-up bars or something like that.
We do.
To me.
Yeah, I mean, our rig over there in the corner, we've got chin-up bars, and we use those bars for all sorts of great bits of torture. I'm trying to be nice about it, right? Yeah, I mean, and we try and stick with the classic stuff. I don't get real into the, kind of some of the new fads. Right, we do a lot of squats. We do deadlifts, lunges, rowing. We, sticking with the classic stuff that works. Compound movements, big movements that'll work your whole body, that will give you the most bang for your buck. It will burn the most fat and put on the most muscle and give you the most strength.
If you're coaching a class and stuff, what is it usually, like 30 minutes?
45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
We don't have any 30-minute classes. All of ours are 45 minutes to an hour. I like a good warm-up, and I also, one of the things that I'm absolutely anal retentive about, and part of it is why we have the name we have, Phys Ed. Ed is education. So I am all about making sure that everybody knows what each move is, how to perform it correctly. And so some extra time is definitely spent on talking through each move and making sure everybody knows exactly what they're doing and how to do it correctly.
You got the right form.
So exactly. That is so key. So that's why I always make sure that our classes are 45 minutes to an hour. So we have that time.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Do you get like a go-to exercise? Is like, oh, if I don't do my squats today, I'm gonna be in pain.
Well, I feel like personally, squats. Ask anybody that comes to the studio, and they all feel like I give them burpees all the time.
Oh, I hate burpees.
Really don't feel like I give burpees all that much, but apparently I do. We also do birthday burpees here. So if you show up to a class, or even if you show up to a class and it's not your birthday on that day, but it was your birthday within a few days, we do the amount of burpees for how old you are.
Oh, for your age.
Which is great when I have one of the young kids that are here. He's like, oh, I'm 21. I'm like, oh, thank God. And then we have, I think the most we did was, we had somebody recently that turned 58. So we had 58. But then we had somebody that had also turned like 35 that same day. And we had a lot of burpees to do in that class.
Oh, man.
That was ridiculous. That was a lot of damn burpees.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hurl.
Yeah, exactly. But, and then when it's my birthday, we celebrate the whole week. So we're going to have, like, my birthday's coming up.
So 25 burpees.
Oh, you're cute. 45 burpees for everybody, every class for a week. It's going to be great. I'm also not saying when my birthday is.
That sounds like a blast.
Yeah.
That's very exciting. Hey, do you want to take the KC quiz?
Yes, I would love to take the KC quiz.
All right, it is the KC quiz. Here's still. I'm going to ask you some questions. You will be rewarded points. Okay,
yes!
They're at my discretion. If I ask you a question you don't like, all you have to say is stupid question.
Dumb, lame.
And then remember, folks, you can always tweet me at Kansas City Pod if you have a question you would like added to the KC quiz. All right, we always start with this question, and I'm very intrigued by this because you're down here on 39th Street. There's lots of great restaurants around here and stuff. What is your favorite restaurant that is not barbecue? What do you got?
So I'm vegan.
Oh,
so
really?
it would definitely not be a vegan, or definitely would not be a barbecue answer.
Okay, perfect.
So actually, this is terrible. It would be Genghis Khan Mongolian barbecue, which is not the same as Kansas City barbecue. Man, maybe I should change my answer. I'm also pretty equally in love with blue koi. So,
Okay.
yeah, but I love Genghis Khan is my favorite place to eat. Because I'm an ultra runner and it's all you can fucking eat, people.
Yeah.
3 trips, like easy. And their vegetables are amazing. They're always fresh. I can have as much as I want. And when I go with my meat eater friends, they're just as happy because they have lots of meat options. So
How long have you been a vegan?
11 years.
11 years?
Yeah.
Do you ever like get the weird like, oh, I need...
Don't.
No?
It's been so long that I just genuinely don't remember what it's like anymore.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I'll often say, oh my gosh, this, coconut ice cream or whatever is just like regular ice cream. And my friends will go, you've been vegan too long. You do not remember what that shit actually tastes like. So, yeah, but Genghis Khan is incredible. It really is. And it's not like if you've been to a Mongolian place that's a chain, it's not like that. This is the bomb.
Gotcha. Okay, very nice. I'm going to give you 5 points.
Yes.
Well done. Let's see. I'm going to jump around a little bit. How do you feel about the streetcar?
I'm excited.
Yeah.
I love to travel. I love to go outside of this country a lot. And one of the best things about going outside of this country is public transportation.
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
that's an obvious thing. So the more public transportation we can get, the better. I mean, obviously the streetcar is not the ideal for getting around the city, but the way I look at it is if we can get no offense to your Johnson County listeners, but people in like Johnson County and stuff to come down, use the streetcar, and see how fun it is. The next time there's a question about public transportation on the ballot, even if it's just expanding our bus service, because we need bus service all over, better bus service all over the entire, both sides of the state, that maybe they'll vote yes, because they had such a good time on the streetcar that they think like, oh, all public transportation is like that.
Yes,
right?
I'm very excited. Where do you like going overseas? Where's your favorite place to go?
Okay, well, my husband's originally from Australia.
Oh,
so we go to
really?
Australia a lot, but
Wait, hold on. No, this is incredible. I've always wanted to go to Australia.
it's amazing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
he has to drag me back on the plane crying every time we go. Yeah, it's amazing.
Where's he from?
He's from a tiny little town in New South Wales called Lightning Ridge.
Oh,
it's
okay.
the only place in the world
Lightning Ridge?
Lightning Ridge.
That's my
I
Australian
got a
accent.
terrible Australian accent.
I do too. It's like I asked shrimp on the barbie here.
Yeah, no.
No. All right, sorry. I said it was terrible.
Yeah.
It works out.
But little trivia, it's the only place in the world they mine black opal. So remember this for your next trivia question, maybe at some bar. Black opal, Lightning Ridge.
Australia.
New South Wales, Australia.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh man, I want to go to Australia.
It's incredible. It really is. It's a beautiful country. It's desolate. It's in some areas like where his parents live. It's stunning. The beaches are incredible. Yeah. Yeah. The people are so nice.
Well, that's not fair.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Do I not get any points for that? No?
I'll give you 1 point for that. That's pretty good.
Shit.
Here we go. What's your favorite local event? You got a favorite local event?
Can we narrow this down at all?
I mean, wait, it's up to you. I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
What comes to mind? I mean, there's so much going on.
There's so much going on. That's the problem. It's like a regular event, like, First Fridays is pretty incredible to see
that counts. Yeah.
everybody come down and investigate the city is awesome. There's also incredible, trail races around. That would be like, that's an event.
Okay.
Or,
yeah. I would agree with that.
even something like the Kansas City Marathon, I feel like is one of my favorite city events because, it seems like half the city is running it and the other half is pissed off that the roads are closed. So it's kind of fun.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. I'll give you 1 point for that.
Jesus. Harsh.
All
right.
Favorite place to hang out? Favorite place to go, hang out with friends? You got some friends coming to town. Where are you going? Where are you going to go hang out? Here? You're going to come here? You're going to bring them here?
I'm going to bring him here. That's right.
You work out?
Here, sweat a little bit. No. God, that's a hard thing. I guess it would depend on what friends. Because if they're running friends, we're going to go hang out on the amazing different trail systems we have here in Kansas City. And that's such a cliched answer. But I also like if there was a great band at, say, Record Bar, that's one of my favorite places to see live music.
Well, that is part of a question that I had. Your favorite place to see live music.
That would be the Record Bar.
Okay.
The new record bar is great. I still have many fond heart memories of the old record bar, so that's hard. But yeah, that record bar is my favorite place. I think it's the perfect size.
Do you got a favorite local band?
So my husband's a musician.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I would have to give a little plug for him. Eric Vakes, yes. Often plays as the Voker Brothers. Right now, that's a good question. Who do I go see the most right now? Probably the Philistines are my favorite. They're very psychedelic rock, amazing, and my husband's not in that band, so I'm being completely, you're being not prejudiced. But yeah, they're incredible.
Very nice. All right. What's one thing in town that everybody should try once?
Holy shit.
There's many different ways to think of this question.
I know, right? And that's my
Yeah, no, you're right. So, like, I always think of it as like, hey, if I have somebody coming to town and like they want the Kansas City experience, what's the one thing they got to go do?
I am a huge fan of the Nelson, even if it means that we just walk around the grounds of the Nelson. I think it's one of our jewels of the city. I'm not a huge shopping person, so I know a lot of people are like, oh, the Plaza, and I've taken friends there when they want to go there, but the Nelson is, I think, fucking incredible. I think we've got some great art collections in there. My husband and I love, like, random Sunday afternoon, let's go to the Nelson and just wander around. The exhibits that they bring in are always fantastic, and the grounds are incredible. That's one of my runs that I always take people on, is like, let's run around the Nelson.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
6 points.
Yes!
Where are you originally from?
Colorado.
You're from Colorado.
Yep. Colorado Springs, grew up in, and then I went to school in Fort Collins at Colorado State. That would be the Rams, not the Buffaloes.
What's the biggest difference between Colorado and here, other than mountains?
Other than the big pointy things.
We've talked on the show many times about how we would love for Kansas City to have a mountain, and we put it in Independence.
Oh, I like that idea a lot. A lot. We'll just smash
Independence Mountain.
Independence is amazing. Yeah. Well, they kind of had the mountain, right, with that big ice cream cone thing where Jesus is supposed to come back, or Smith is supposed to come back.
Jesus
Joseph
is supposed
Smith,
to slide down
something.
it.
It's kind of a mountain. It's not really a mountain.
It's not at all.
Nothing like a mountain.
Giant spike going into the sky. Makes no sense. Yeah, and it looks like a slide because it does look like, oh, Jesus is going to come down and slide down it.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I think that, honestly, Kansas City is so much friendlier. The people in Kansas City, it's such a tighter community, and I love Colorado, and it will always have my heart, and I feel like I always have this like mountain-shaped hole in my heart. But I fucking love Kansas City, and I wouldn't move back to Colorado.
Yeah.
The people here are incredible. It's such a tight-knit community, and it's such a big city with, yet everybody knows everybody and is connected to everybody, sort of thing. I mean, we probably could sit here and come up with a million connections, whether it was people or places or what. And that's what I like so much about it. In Colorado, people are friendly, but I don't think they're quite as like, hey, come on into my house and sit down at my dinner table, even though I've just met you.
Gotcha.
Whereas here, I feel like anything, actually the people here are very much like Australians.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Okay. I will not do my Australian accent again.
Thank you. God.
You're very welcome.
You want people to listen to this, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, I do a lot of silly voices, and I tried. I went for it. No shame.
No. You have to try. You're right. I should not be shaming you. Yeah. Bad coach.
Good day. How do you feel about the airport?
Mixed feelings. I mean, I know we need a newer, updated airport. I know this, but I fucking love being able to roll up, 30 minutes before my flight leaves, throw my shit, on my back and, run through security. It's really convenient. So I hope that, with the newer one that they still try and keep that in mind because, being from Colorado, DIA is a shit show.
It's scary.
It is. Well, and you have to be there.
Isn't it haunted?
Yeah, well, the blue horse out front with the orange eyes. Yeah, that thing's haunted. There's some fucked up shit at DIA. Sorry, but it is a shit show there, though. You have to be there 2.5 hours ahead of time to make it to your gate. I have sprinted through that airport more times than I care to mention because it just takes so long to get everywhere, and security is a nightmare. So I am glad that we're doing something about it, but I hope that it's done in still a really accessible, easy way.
Right.
So, yeah.
10 points.
Yes.
That's a really good answer.
Thank God.
Yeah, sillier question here. Is it Plaza or Plaza?
Shit. Kansas City Plaza. Plaza?
Plaza? Okay,
Plaza?
you're a Plaza person. All right, are you dog or cat?
Currently, I only have cats. I have
Okay.
4 of them. Cats find us. They just
Oh.
arrive on our doorstep. Our last dog died in September, so we're on a little bit of a dog hiatus just because it,
Yeah,
gotta heal. So
I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
So the cats is where it's at.
Cats is where it's at right now. Yeah.
I got. Can I have $5?
What are you gonna spend it on?
I don't know yet.
If you're gonna spend it on cigarettes, no.
I do not
If you're gonna
smoke.
spend it on a discount on trail shoes or running shoes in general, I
Yes,
will
that is.
absolutely give you $5 for that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
What's the best salad dressing?
I prefer a little bit of olive oil and soy sauce.
Oh, whoa! That took a turn. Olive oil and
Just
soy sauce.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's the little bit of salt, a little bit of like nice zingy flavor in there. It's
Okay.
a great combination.
Very nice.
Yeah.
1 point. Here we go. You've been all over the world. You've seen lots of cool places. What is Kansas City missing? What do we need in your mind? Like, what's the thing that we
Again,
need?
cliche, public transportation.
Okay,
We
no, that's
really do.
fine. That's a lot of people say that.
I think that if we had decent public transportation, we'd see a lot more mingling of the different areas too.
Yeah.
Because I admit I won't, somebody says, oh, there's this great place at 135th. I'm like, I'm not fucking going down there.
Yeah.
But if I could jump on a train and maybe, read a book or, hang out with my friends while we're, taking a train down there or, a decent bus.
Yeah.
I just might do that then. So I think it would make things even friendlier in Kansas City, and maybe we don't want friendlier. Maybe that would lead to
No, I think we're a friendly city.
children. We're a friendly city, but
Yeah.
I also think that there's very much some some people stay in their areas.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we can be very, like I said, 135th. I'm like, I have to pack a fucking lunch to drive down there. Seriously, that's like. Whoa. All right. That'll take me all day, but I'll go down there if you insist.
Here we go. It's the final question. It's time for the Google challenge. Okay, the Google challenge. Here's what I have done. I have went onto the Google machine and I have typed in something and I've let Google do the autofill. Okay. Now I need you to tell me what the autofill is. Okay. And here's what I have typed in. I have typed in. We're on theme today. I typed in physical education is.
Fun.
You're going with fun.
I'm going with fun.
Final answer.
Final answer.
Actually, it is important.
Okay. It is also necessary. Oh,
No,
not
not
necessary.
necessary.
Shit.
The second
it's
one
not
is-
a waste of time either.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool because the first one's very positive. It's like, oh, it's important. And then the other two is not necessary, waste of time.
Google's wrong.
Well, this is what people are Googling. You got to remember, it's not Google's fault. This is what people. So if it did say fun, we would feel much better. But
Right.
At least not
it's saying
necessary. A waste of time is like the first one.
Yeah.
That would be.
I would be sad.
That would be upsetting.
I mean, because if you think about if you're truly, genuinely feeling physical education for kids, it is extremely important.
Yeah.
That's
I
how we
remember taking
reset
the
our
physical
brains.
fitness test in school,
We're gonna do this summer. We're doing field day.
Oh, yeah?
Oh yeah, we're gonna have a big old field day. So your listeners can check out our Facebook
Three-legged
page.
race.
Exactly. All that sort. Well,
I'm
yeah.
trying to remember all the
and the
field
running
day
around the
activities.
field. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna take a big old poll because what we did as field day in Colorado might be the same as what you guys did field day here. So we have to make sure we've got a mix.
It was weird. I remember there was the three-legged race, and then there was the long jump.
Yep, we did that.
I remember. Then there was something with the parachute.
Yeah, where you just run the parachute and people would run underneath.
Yeah, run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then
Get a parachute.
What was the other one? There was one.
We did a lot of
Duck,
like
Goose.
running. Oh, we never did Duck Duck Goose.
Yeah, we did. Well, maybe I was very small, but it was like we did Duck Duck Goose. But it was like a giant game of Duck Duck Goose.
Well, we could do it with like water instead of like ducking somebody on the head. It's like duck, 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 and then if you get like a water gun in your ear, you're Goose.
Or like smash a water balloon on top of someone's head, and then that's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to tally up your points here.
Okay.
5 times 7. You know what? You got 45 points. Fantastic.
As old as I almost am. Very
Congratulations.
Nice. Thanks.
Yeah, we're going to do 45 burpees. Thank you so much for taking the KC quiz.
Thank you so much for giving it to me, and it made me think.
That's what we're all about. We're all about making you think. All right, so we are nearing the end of our time today. It's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot about you. I've learned a lot about fitness. I've learned a lot about big bouncy balls. I've learned about ultramarathon. This is now your time to shine. This is your plugs. This is your, hey, tell the people where to find you. If you got any last minute words of wisdom, tips, go for it. The floor is now yours.
Well, I would have to say if you're interested in getting your fitness on in a fun, amazing, community-friendly way where, we're just all about having a good time, I would say definitely come check us out on 39th in Wyoming, phys-ed-kc.com. Also, if you're interested in trail running, if that appeals to you, one of the best ways to start would be on Monday nights at Shawnee Mission Park with the Mud Babes. So you got to check out the Mud Babes. Google that no, don't Google that. Look that up on Facebook. Yeah. Or put your safe search on. Yeah.
You're going to do Mud Babes like Kansas City?
Yeah. Well, Mud Babes KC might work too. But the Mud Babes are awesome. They are truly a beginner-friendly group. Leia, my business partner with Team Sparkle Productions, owns the Mud Babes, and it's free trail running, and they truly, no one gets left behind, and they make sure that you know what you're doing, and it's a nice, easy little loop that everybody does, and it's a whole lot of fun. So beginners and experienced people. And then if you're really into it, you can check out Team Sparkle Productions, and that's our running coaching and trail running and educational. We put on clinics and workshops. We've got a women's only trail running and yoga retreat coming up in June at Clinton Lake in Lawrence. Nice. And all sorts of stuff like that. So it's we have a lot of fun. I mean, and again, if being taught a class by a unicorn is appealing to you, then you should probably come check us out.
I think that is the most appealing thing. That's because I've always wanted to meet a real unicorn.
Yeah, we exist.
And knowing now that the unicorns do yoga just makes it that much more.
And throw around barbells. I feel like yoga is kind of given with unicorns. If you think about unicorns, yoga, unicorns, okay, that goes together. But throwing around a barbell... Unicorns throwing around barbells?
I've done the broga before.
Have you?
The bro yoga? Yeah.
Did you like it?
Like dynamic resistance and like lots of, lots of yelling and stuff like that. No? No.
I mean, whatever floats your boat.
I mean, it's kind of like, it's one of those weird things where it's just like, okay, yes, I know I'm stretching, but at the same time, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right, exactly. So... Hi, my mailman's here.
Oh, hello.
He's awesome. Have a good weekend.
See you later. Remember, folks, you can find me at Cole Lindbergh on Twitter. Make sure to check out our website, theKansasCityPodcast.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Kansas City Pod. Any words of wisdom before we leave today?
Don't go out like an asshole.
You know what?
That's perfect for life. Running, everything.
It hits every little thing I could ever think of.
Yeah. Drinking, don't go out like an asshole.
No.
Running, don't go out like an asshole.
You're right.
Family events, don't go out like an asshole.
I mean, I feel like...
I'm going to start a whole guru movement here.
Not only... You can write a book about that. Don't go out like an asshole.
I might.
You better trademark that shit.
I know. It's on our sweatshirts.
Okay. Yes. Good. There you go. Coleen, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Cole.
Make sure to check out our website to learn more about Coleen and all of her stuff that she plugged today. Thank you for listening, folks, and we will see you next week here on the Kansas City Podcast.